What's up, guys? I'm Chris. This channel is called Linguadegringo, and typically the videos are in Portuguese, but sometimes I make videos in English, and today is one of them. I wanted to talk a little bit about Brazil and answer the question I get every single day almost, and that is, why Brazil? Chris, why did you decide to go to Brazil? You could go to any country in the world. Why did you choose Brazil? It's dangerous, right? Do you want to get killed? Do you want to get robbed? I hear these things all the time, and trust me, it gets a little bit annoying because I feel like us as Americans, especially in the United States, we don't really have a good understanding of Brazil and probably many other countries, but I'm only going to be speaking about Brazil because I have not traveled to many other countries. To answer the main question, why Brazil, I would say it's a little bit complicated because I didn't just wake up one morning and get struck with a dream to travel to Brazil and to meet all these new people and learn a new language all at once. It kind of happened slowly. I met some Brazilian friends when I lived in Denver, Colorado, and they were really cool, and I learned a couple Portuguese words, but that was just a very small slice of an introduction to Brazil. What really made me decide to go to Brazil was my job. I work for a software company that lets me travel, and they started letting me work remotely, which means I could work anywhere with a Wi-Fi connection. So I started doing some online research, and I found that there was a lot of good resources online talking about the best countries that you can travel to that are cost effective, that are beautiful, tropical climate, and then they would rank these countries based on what would be the best countries to travel and work remotely. After doing some research, I sort of landed on Brazil just because I really wanted somewhere with beautiful beaches, and I really wanted to go somewhere that would be a little more cost effective. I didn't really have the money to travel to Europe, and I just knew that I wanted to travel somewhere where I could get a good Wi-Fi connection and I could just work remotely and learn about the culture. But I would say that as I decided just to go to Brazil just for a few months, I started learning Portuguese just because I didn't want to be one of those gringos, one of those foreigners, they call them gringos, who couldn't talk to any local. I didn't want to be somebody who only spoke English walking on the streets of Brazil because, first of all, I think that it's a little bit rude just assuming people are going to want to speak English with you. And then second, I thought it would be a little bit safer if I knew some Portuguese to get myself out of any situations that could happen. So I decided to go to Brazil so I could work my software job remotely, closer to the beach in a nice climate. And as I started learning about the Portuguese language and about the Brazilian culture, I started reaching out on various websites so I could learn Portuguese and practice Portuguese with a native speaker, and they could in turn practice their English. And as I started doing this, I started making some really great friends. I started watching movies that they would recommend, TV shows that they would recommend, and then I just, very importantly, talk to them every single day in Portuguese. And that really helped me because by the time I arrived in Brazil, this was 5 months after I started learning, after I started my YouTube channel and all of this. I felt like I was a little more prepared than the average person coming into Brazil for the first time. And I wouldn't trade this for the world. I think that if you are going to travel to a new country, I think it's really important that you at least try to learn some words and some phrases in their language, that you at least try to learn about their favorite dishes or learn about a little bit about their culture. Not everything. Of course, you can't learn everything, but I wanted to prepare myself. And trust me, I'm not someone who is super great at learning a whole bunch of new things at once. I am lazy at times, I forget things at times, but if I can learn the Portuguese language, then I think anyone can. So to answer the question, why Brazil, I would say it was a series of different factors, but really once I exposed myself to this new culture, I started falling in love with the way the people behave, the way that they talk to each other, how friendly everybody is. I started falling in love with the food and with the music. The music was so different from what I am used to listening to. I listened to Brazil funk and samba and sertaneja and all these different types of music that were just really different from what I am used to hearing. So I think that learning so much about a culture that I had no clue about before, I think that pushed me further and further into learning and wanting to learn as much as possible. So I would say that there are a lot of misconceptions about Brazil and about their culture. Some of them are based in some truth, like it is dangerous in certain parts of Brazil, but it's also dangerous in most every country in the world in certain parts. So you just have to be cautious. You have to watch your back. You have to make sure that you're not walking around with expensive items like jewelry and iPhones and cameras on the street. And if you are, just make sure that you're doing it during the day, especially with people. Don't go to such crowded areas where you could easily be pickpocketed. But I will say that I didn't run into any violent scenarios in my entire 6 months in Brazil. I didn't see any fighting. I didn't get hurt at all. I did have one unfortunate situation where I had a phone get stolen, but that wasn't really a very smart decision on my part. I was walking around on the street in the middle of the night and I let someone hold my phone, and then somebody ran by and snatched it out of their hands. Still to this day, I think that if I was holding my phone, it wouldn't have gotten stolen because I have a grip of steel. But once you learn these ways to be a little more cautious and to take care of your belongings a little more, I think that there is just so much raw beauty about Brazil as a country that we as Americans and other parts of the world need to experience Brazil. We need to experience different parts of the world, especially those that we don't know anything about. We are not taught about Brazil in public schools. I didn't learn a single thing about Brazil, hardly. And I feel like it is just such a beautiful country. The beaches, and not only the beaches, the mountainous regions, there's waterfalls, and there's just such diversity in the country itself. You can go to any state in the country, and there's several states, and you can find almost a completely different culture because the people, they're so diverse. The south regions of Brazil are so much different than the northern regions of Brazil. It's even way different than what we would find in the United States. You know, we have different states as well. We have New York, we have Texas, we have California, and they are different, but Brazil even more so. I can't recommend Brazil enough. If you are thinking about visiting a new country and you want to go somewhere that's not only cost effective, but has warm people who are inviting, and people who will go out of their way to show you their culture and are excited that you want to learn about their language and you want to learn about their country, go to Brazil. Right now, unfortunately, the economy is not doing so well, and the American dollar is worth over 4 of their dollars, the Brazilian real. I was able to get by pretty easily with the American dollar over there. I would say that right now is the best time to travel to Brazil. Recently, starting in July, there was no longer a need for a travel visa. You don't have to apply for a visa to get to Brazil. You can go there for up to 3 months. I think if you extend, you can stay up to 6 months. I highly recommend it. Check out Rio de Janeiro, check out Sao Paulo, check out different areas of Brazil. I know I will check out more when I return in February, but I just wanted to explain a little more about why I picked Brazil, why I think you should reconsider. If you're thinking about going to Brazil, but you're wondering, maybe I should go somewhere safer, maybe I should go just look into it, because not everything that you've read, not everything you've heard is the truth, and there's a lot of exaggerations. I think that you'll be just fine as long as you take a little bit of caution and you don't make any stupid travel mistakes. I think that it's worth the effort, worth your time to research about this beautiful country, because if I could do it all over again, I would in a heartbeat. I'm already going back for a 3rd time. There's so much more about Brazil I want to see. I want to experience the northern regions of Brazil, the southern regions of Brazil. I've pretty much only stuck around Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. So there's so much more for me to see. And if I can learn a couple good Portuguese phrases in just a couple months, I think you can too. Highly recommend listening to some podcasts. There's some great ones from the University of Texas at Austin that I listen to almost every day, and definitely helps me learn Portuguese phrases. And then this book, Modern Brazilian Portuguese Grammar has saved my life. This book is amazing. It is the best resource. I bought it off Amazon. Can't recommend it enough. And there's even like a part in each chapter, if you're a Spanish speaker, talking about the differences between certain words and phrases. And so can't recommend this enough. Seriously, what are you waiting for? Just go to Brazil. If you want an amazing tropical vacation with the best people and delicious foods, what are you waiting for? Just go to Brazil. If you're in the United States, you can have a sample of Brazilian culture if you just go to a restaurant such as Fogo de Chão, Texas de Brazil, Rodizio Grill. These restaurants, they're called churrascarias, and they have barbecue. It's pretty much unlimited steak and chicken and all the most delicious foods, especially pão de queijo, which translates to cheese bread. Brazilian cheese bread is to die for, you guys. You have to try it. Can't recommend it enough. So I just wanted to take this chance to talk a little bit about why Brazil, and hopefully encourage you all to give Brazil a chance, because you will not regret it. You are going to fall in love with this country just like I fell in love with it. And if you have any questions, I want to be here at your disposal. So comment below if you have any questions, any comments or concerns. I want to help you out as best I can, and really just encourage you all to experience Brazil like I have. I hope you guys can subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and share with your friends and family, anybody who might be interested in Brazil. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.